So what exactly is Just for Heart? So Just for Heart is an initiative for healthy life. It has been founded by Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni sir, who is himself a cardiologist in the year 2010. Our company is based out in Pune, and we have 5 core activities, out of which the first is workshop, through which you people are associated with us. The second is Healthy Life magazine, that is the e-magazine, wherein it is taken care, or the editor is Dr. Tejas Limhay ma'am, who decides upon the theme, and then there are around 200 authors who are associated with us, who share their expertise on that particular topic or the theme that is decided. Then we have team of dietitians who look into health coaching. Again, you can get associated with Just for Heart as a blogger for our website. And the last is our YouTube channel. So we have our presence on all the social media platform, and we take that on YouTube channel. We conduct different live sessions wherein expert can share their expertise, and we can play the role, or we can share our knowledge with our audiences, so as to prevent them from various diseases. This is what is the core goal of Just for Hearts. Is like, we believe that prevention is better than cure, and we always take efforts to bring that awareness of prevention. So this is about Just for Hearts, and I will be glad that if any one of you is interested to get associated with us, you can just stay connected with us on our WhatsApp number, which was shared on the creative. So this is my pleasure to introduce Neha ma'am, because she's my super senior from our university, Savitribai Pune University, Department of Health Sciences. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Neha Sanvalkar ma'am with you all. Ma'am is basically a dietitian and also passionate about statistics, and to tell you, or to introduce ma'am, actually I've considered included few points of her, but the list is a big one. So I hope ma'am I've not missed anything important. So ma'am has done her PhD into health sciences, and she has done her MSc from dietetics, that is the health science department of Pune University. She's also a certified diabetes educator. She has done a certificate course in quantitative methods in clinical public health research from Harvard University. She is an associate professor and at HCJMRI, Jahangir Hospital, Pune. She is a recognized associate professor and PG teacher at Savitri Phule, Pune University, consultant statistician at Kokilaben Dhirubhai Ambani Hospital, and director at NutriCanvas Mumbai. NutriCanvas basically looks into promoting nutrition research and biostatistics. So this is about Neha ma'am, and I will just stop the screen sharing so you can interact. Ma'am, you need to unmute. Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you, Tejashri, for the kind introduction. That was very sweet of you, and you've not missed out on anything. I think that's more than enough. We shouldn't be spending a lot of time on introductions, but on topic. Before I start the seminar or webinar today, I would like to thank Just for Hearts for inviting me to talk on such an important topic. But I would like to make 2 disclaimers. One, this is not sponsored by any association or anybody. So any names that I take are just names, which came to me, like which I know of, or I follow, or I endole in. So this is not a sponsored program at all. And secondly, it's not the information is so much out there that it's not exhaustive. Like there's going to be a lot more than what I'm already sharing, but I'm sharing the top of the creme that I know. And I would love if you all could just add on to the chat, things in between. I would like to take questions in the end so that, we can finish the entire session and then go ahead with it. So starting with the session today, so as the topic has already been shared with you, we are going to be talking on identifying authentic information resources, how do we stay updated in this era of information overload? And as Tejashri started, that we are not just, in the era wherein, pad liya college mein aur ho gaya. We are into the era of micro specialization. So how do we as dietitians stay updated, give the best of our capability to our clients? So before we actually start, okay, so sorry. Yeah. So this is going to be the flow for today. So the topics that we are going to be covering is, first I'm going to be covering is, why do you need to stay updated? Journal articles. In that, I'll be covering is, what is the difference between original article, review article, and case study, and how can you set up journal alerts, and how do you obtain full text, and what are abstracts. Then apart from journal articles, what are the authentic sources from which you can upgrade your knowledge? And lastly, why do you need to upskill and reskill yourself? What is upskilling and reskilling? And what are the sources for upskilling and reskilling? So before we go ahead, let's take a poll, how many of you all use any of these methods to kind of, stay updated in your field of knowledge? So I request Tejashri to launch the poll. Tejashri, do I need to stop screen share?
No, not required.
Okay. So Tejashri is going to share a poll with you all. Please take the poll and, decide, please mark all that is applicable, what all do you like? Do you use Google Scholar alerts? Do you use Twitter? Do you attend conferences? Are you part of any journal clubs? Do you do online courses? Do you read blogs? Or do you surf websites of places like, United Nations, WHO, or ICMR? So are you on, like, do you follow any of these? So I'm seeing quite some interesting results. There are very few people on journal mailing lists, and conference and webinars are by about 16 of you all. Online courses about 19 from 87. So everybody take poll, because this is quite interesting to know what we as association or as a community are doing.
Yeah, you can go ahead with choosing the one option that you use the most.
Okay, so here it's not multiple choice, is it?
Yeah, by default.
Okay, so they can, no problem. They can choose the one which they do the most. I think that way we could do. So I think, about 113 have answered from 147. So we can end poll the Tejashri, I think now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you could see the results.
Yeah. So if you see the results, the most common way that you all are following is either, surfing websites or attending conferences or doing online courses or using Google Scholar. But why is it that you need to do these courses, right? So I'll give you from my personal experience why the need to do this. I completed my master's in 2007. Okay, so when I completed my master's, nutrigenomics was a very new term, and really there were no courses available. So if after 2007 I had not upgraded myself, if I don't upgrade myself, if I am into nutrition counseling, and if I don't upskill and reskill myself, and if a person comes to me and say, what, I want a personalized diet, I wouldn't even know what is personalized diet and nutrigenomics, right? Microgreens, the first very big paper on health benefits of microgreens was published in 2012. That was actually the year in which I submitted my PhD dissertation. So if after 2007, I had not upgraded myself, if I had not kept abreast with different knowledge levels, I wouldn't know what is microgreens. Keto diet, when I did my studies and I completed my studies, keto diet was purely epileptic diet for patients who are suffering from epilepsy. There was nowhere mention of keto diet for weight loss at that point of time. And in today's date and age, even a lay person will associate keto diet with probably weight loss and not keto diet with epilepsy. So as a nutritionist, if you need to give keto diet to your patient, how are you going to do that unless and until you're trained in keto diet? And keto diet is very specific. And there are specific rules that need to be followed even when you're doing keto diet for weight loss for it to be effective. So if I today need to practice keto diet, I will have to enroll in a course that teaches me all about keto diet. Next, low FODMAP diet. Yes, we all learned about irritable bowel syndrome and gut health at that point of time in 2007, but FODMAP was nowhere into picture at that point of time. So today, if I want to prescribe FODMAP to my patient, I would have to do a course in FODMAP so that I give the right prescription to my patients, right? And lastly, intermittent fasting. Yes, fasting has been existent for ages. It's not that 2007 there was no fasting. There was fasting. But the kind of intermittent fasting that we are prescribing these days to our clients for weight loss, that term was not there at 2007. Fasting, we would say, have 2 meals, 3 meals, but the term wasn't there. Yes, you will find papers which would say, intermittent fasting was introduced in 1940s, 1950s, but it was not so prevalent, and none of our textbooks or reference books talked about intermittent fasting. So today, if I get a client, and today we have clients walking into our clinic and telling us, what, please give me, I want to go on a keto diet. I want to go on an intermittent fasting diet. So unless and until you upgrade yourself, how are you going to give these kind of diets or facilities to your clients? So that is why it is very important that we as dietitians upgrade ourselves. So what is the most and the easiest way to upgrade ourselves? Reading a journal article. But the most common mistake that all of us do is that we follow 1 or 2 journals and we are happy with it. Ek journal follow kiya na, ho gaya kaam. Why do we need to follow multiple journals? But is it enough that you follow just 1 single journal? I'm going to give you an answer for that in my next slide. As per statistics published in various papers, there was a 4 to 5% increment in the number of papers that were published each year from say about 1960s to about 2000, or say late 90s. From late 90s to current date, there is an increment of about 8 to 9% in number of papers published each year. So what does this mean? If I look at the SCImago journal and country ranking, it's a website which ranks journals. Okay, there are more than 27,000 journals indexed on that particular website. Now, this website is not a comprehensive, exhaustive website. Okay, so on SCImago, there are 27,000 journals which are listed, out of which they have 2,300 journals which are agriculture and biological sciences based, out of which 338 are food science based journals, and there are 131 nutrition and dietetics journals. If I say I'm following just 1 journal, what about the rest 130 journals? How will I get to know what's the information shared in those 130 journals? And SCImago lists about 7,118 medical journals. But SCImago journaling is not very exhaustive. You know why I say that? Because if I look at PubMed, now PubMed is like a library. Okay, it's a library wherein the biological sciences papers are indexed, and there are approximately 30,000 biological sciences paper on PubMed. And let me tell you that not all journals are indexed. Indexed means, when you go to a library, they have a list of all journals. So PubMed is like a list of all journals. Okay, not all journals are indexed on PubMed. So you can imagine SCImago says 27,000 all academic journals, whereas PubMed has only 30,000 journals which are biological sciences. So none of these websites are very exhaustive, and there might be some great journals which are not there on PubMed but are on SCImago, or those journals are on PubMed but are not on SCImago. So how do we stay abreast with all the information? And before we go ahead with that, one last slide into why we cannot read just 1 paper and why there has been an information overload. So if you look at the history of publications, from 1960s to 1980s, there were about 50 to 60,000 articles which were published per year in medical journals or biological journals, or you can say journals overall, not just biological sciences, mathematics, engineering, everything included. From about 80s to 90s, about 1 million journals articles were published per year. From 90s to 2000, about 1.5 million. From 2000 to 2010, anywhere between 2.7 to 4 million articles per year were published. And from 2010 to 2020, about 5 to 7 million articles a year are published per year. Now you would say, why do I need to care about other articles? For me, only nutrition-based articles are enough. No, they are not. If as a dietitian, I need to give the best to my clients, if let's say out of these 5 to 7 million articles, let's say just 20%, are medical articles. That 20% still amounts to 1 million articles. How you as dietitian will make sure that you read all that 1.1 million articles? It's not possible. And you'll ask me, why do I need those all other medical articles? Well, for example, let's take diabetes. If I am working in the field of diabetes, I can as a dietitian, a diabetic dietitian, if I'm a diabetic dietitian, I can publish my paper in a diabetes journal. I can publish my paper in a journal which is based on endocrinology and not just diabetes. I can publish my paper in any food and nutrition journal. I can publish my paper in any medical journal. So there are so many journals to check and so many papers to publish. And it's not just that I need to be aware about food-based journals, articles. I need to be aware about articles talking about medicine. I need to be aware about medicines talking about side effects, complications, different treatment modalities. So there is so much information that I need to be aware about that following just one or two articles, one or two journals is not enough. So we as dietitians need to form a comprehensive method of how we can stay updated in this era of information overload. So here, so I'm going to be talking in 3 different parts. One, I'm going to be talking majorly about journal articles, because a lot of times we are very confused, what are journal articles, what are original articles, what this is reviews versus case studies, and how do we know when a new article is published in an article. And also the confusion between, how normally what we have is an abstract that is available. So how do we obtain a full text article? So the first, before we go ahead to that, let's take a poll. I would really like to know, when was the last time you as a dietitian read a research paper? Was it this week, this month, 3 to 6 months back, about a year back, or never read any research paper? That's a great poll. I think we have a lot of the group today is a group of people who are really into reading articles, because 36% of you all almost have quoted that you all are reading research articles. That's great. I think we can end the poll, Tejasri, and just share the results. So even now, even if I say, 37% of you all are reading articles daily, we still have 13% who've not read an article in a year or have never read an article. If you've never read an article, how would you be aware of what is the latest update in the field of nutrition and research, right? So you definitely need to start reading articles and journals. Before I go ahead and tell you how do you start reading articles, I'm going to tell you about different types of journal articles. The first one is case study or case series. Now, what is a case study or case series? Take, for example, Wilson's disease. Wilson's disease is a very uncommon copper metabolism disorder, right? You do not have so many cases for Wilson's disease as you would have for diabetes. Or, for example, let's take into consideration phenylketonuria. It's an inborn error of metabolism, and you definitely don't have as many cases of phenylketonuria as you would have for, say, hypertension or for CAD. So you would have a very unique case, and you would also have a very unique treatment that you would give to your patient. Once, a lot of you all know that I'm part of Nutritionists in India Facebook group, and through that group, a very long back when we had just started that group, we came across this girl. I came across this girl from Pakistan, okay? This girl had 24 food allergies and her diet was very restrictive. So we just started talking, and that time this girl got my contact through the group, okay? And she got in touch with me on my personal chat on Facebook. And I really got talking to her, and I'm like, what do you eat? How do you manage things? 24 food allergies is a huge number of food allergies, and imagine the amount of food restriction that girl had. Now, if you as a dietitian, now that I've told you this case, that there was this girl in Pakistan who had so many food restrictions, the next time you have a patient with so many food restrictions, you would think, what Dr. Neha had told me about this case, which she had come across, wherein, this girl had 24 food allergies. How nice it would have been if I could have seen, how the dietitian for that patient managed her case. Wouldn't you think so? Similarly, when you have cases of phenylketonuria or Wilson's disease or any other rare cases, wouldn't you want to read how other dietitians are managing their cases? So such case or such papers in journals are known as case studies or case series. Case studies, when you base an entire article on just one single patient, how the patient showed, what are the symptoms the patient showed when the patient was admitted, what was the treatment given to the patient, and what was the convalescent and the management phase of the patient. Case series is, suppose it happens that, by chance I have 4-5 cases, up to 10 cases of a similar kind of disease, I put them together and present a case series. So case study and case series are very patient specific and very case specific. The next one is original article. Now, what is original research? Original research is when I or you as a researcher take the data that is available to us, or, when we conduct research study, the data that we collect, when we analyze the data, and that data, when it is published, it is called as original research. Now, the results published in an original research are based on just one single research study, that is our research study. Now, let's come to an example of, which a lot of us are very confused about, which is caffeine intake and pregnancy. Most studies say that, still say about a few decades, about a decade back, it was said, up to 5 milligrams or 5 milligrams of caffeine per day is like a safe limit for pregnant women. This was shown up to a few years back. But I did a journal club a few months back, wherein I was looking for articles related to caffeine intake in pregnancy, wherein it was found that even about 2 milligrams of caffeine per day can have negative side effects on the fetus. So now you as a dietitian, what would you decide? Would you go on those 1 or 2 studies which are saying that even, 2 milligrams caffeine per day is having side effect? Or would you continue saying to your patient that no, up to 5 milligrams per day, because most studies say that, are okay? So we cannot modify our treatment modalities ever based on one single study. We have to look at a lot of literature. And that process of looking at a lot of literature is known as systematic review. Systematic review is wherein authors collect a lot of literature or a lot of papers, which are original articles on the same field of work, and they put it in a systematic manner and they publish it as a review paper. So now here in caffeine intake and pregnancy outcomes, I did find a lot of studies which say that even 2 milligrams caffeine intake is harmful for a pregnant woman and her child. So now when I get a client, I might think some 100 times before saying, that 5 milligrams is the upper limit of caffeine intake in a patient. And I probably wouldn't recommend caffeine at all. But there again, my treatment modality. So our textbooks are not based on systematic reviews. Our textbooks, our reference books are made on papers which are known as meta-analysis. When doctors and medical association create protocols, they create protocols based on meta-analysis. Now, meta-analysis is a stage above systematic review. So suppose I find 50 papers in the field of my interest, which I use in systematic review. Now, if I want to do a meta-analysis, I apply a lot of statistical information. I will probably contact the original authors. I'll get them to send me their papers, and then I'll apply a lot of statistical tests. And then I will come up with a new paper with new results stating what I found in my meta-analysis. And that is what meta-analysis is. Meta-analysis is the highest authority papers in terms of your literature. Results that are obtained as a part of meta-analysis can be used to make your treatment protocols by many medical associations. So meta-analysis is the best kind of review papers that are out there. Now you'll ask me, ma'am, which one I read? So if you have a very unique case, go in for a case study or a case review paper. If you have cases which are very uncommon, or it's a very common disease wherein the prevalence keeps changing, I will use original research. However, if I want to make changes in the complete treatment protocol at my clinic, then it would be best that I rely on systematic reviews and meta-analysis. I cannot change treatment protocols for all the patients at my hospital based on original research. It has to be based on systematic reviews and meta-analysis. So, ye to ho gaya ki, what are the different kinds of articles? How do you find these articles? Well, very simple. We have journal databases. Some of the most common journal database is PubMed. So for medical sciences, PubMed is a very commonly used database. However, let me again remind you that not all nutrition journals are indexed on PubMed. PubMed has a very high standard of indexing. Indexing is like, creating a library, an online library. So not all full text articles are available on PubMed, So you shouldn't just restrict to PubMed. You need to look at other options also. If you're looking for reviews, the best place to go for reviews is Cochrane Library. Cochrane Library is like a place wherein you get both systematic and meta-analysis reviews. The next place after PubMed and Cochrane is Science Direct and Scopus. Science Direct is very similar to PubMed. Both PubMed and Science Direct, you only find abstracts of the article. Now, what is an abstract? An abstract is a summary of results that is published in the paper. It will not give you the complete text of the paper, okay? And Scopus is a paid service. So Science Direct and PubMed are free services. Scopus is a paid service for same. And lastly, we have ResearchGate and Google Scholar. ResearchGate and Google Scholar are like social media for researchers, okay? So you can go to these particular websites and places and just use them like your search engines to find articles for yourself. But वो तो हुआ कि आप manually जाके कर रहे हो. But it's not possible to always go manually and do things, right? So we can create journal alerts. Now, how do we create journal alerts? One, you can create alerts in PubMed and you can create alerts in Google Scholar alerts. I'll just show you, I'll stop screen and I'll show you these two alerts. You can identify the top journals in your field of interest and you can go through table of contents of those journals on a monthly basis. So suppose if I am working in the field of heart disease, maybe 4 nutrition journals, which are the top nutrition journals, the 3 heart journals and 2 endocrine journals, I would like kind of, subscribe to their table of contents. I will go through them monthly. Then I can set up RSS feeds. I can look at Twitter and LinkedIn. You'll say, ma'am, Twitter and LinkedIn to social media hota hai. Why Twitter and LinkedIn? So, well, a lot of journals and a lot of researchers tweet about their articles or they put posts about the researchers that they do on Twitter and LinkedIn. So if there are authors that you kind of follow a lot, you can, or in your specialization, if there are particular authors, you can start following them on Twitter and LinkedIn. And, then whenever they publish their papers, you can kind of, go and see what is their paper all about and, read about that. So for example, I'll give you a name like, for example, or even you can use Google Scholar for that matter. So at Twitter and LinkedIn, for example, I'll give you, our department at HCJMRI now has a LinkedIn handle. Okay, so we will post all the research that we have on LinkedIn. So if you follow our department, you'll be able to follow, what we are doing at HCJMRI. I also do that for NutriCanvas. That if I publish papers, I always try and put them on NutriCanvas. Okay, so like that. And PubMed is an RSS feed that you can set up for PubMed alerts. So before we go ahead for the next slide, I would just show you how do you set up alerts on PubMed and Google Scholar. So to set up alerts on Google Scholar, just find, so suppose for example, I want to set up as, I want to follow myself. Then I would just type myself, I would search for myself, and then here, there's something called as create alert comes. I can do that. So say FODMAP. I can do that for FODMAP also. Okay. So if I want to know about everything that is related to FODMAP that is published, I just have to search for it and click on create alert. Once I click on create alert, it will ask me what is the term on which I want to create alert. So now every time an article is published related to FODMAP, I'll get a mail saying that an article related to FODMAP has been updated on Google Scholar. I need to click on create alert to do that. I can do the same thing on PubMed. But to do that on PubMed, you need to create a login onto NCBI website or the PubMed website. Okay. And then I just need to type what I'm looking for. So here I've already typed PubMed. I'm sorry. So I'm already logged into my NCBI account. I have typed PubMed and I just need to click on create alert. It will say what are the terms you're looking for, and then I can just say save. So every time an article containing the word PubMed is updated on PubMed, sorry, an article on FODMAP is updated on PubMed, I will get an alert in my inbox that something related to PubMed is being done. Sorry, FODMAP is being updated on PubMed. So I don't really need to keep going through PubMed. I will automatically get an update in my inbox. Okay. So that is how you set up the PubMed alerts, and you can set up the Google Scholar alerts. Tejasri, my web PPT is visible again now. So
yeah, now it's visible.
Yeah. So this is how you create. So that's how you can stay updated with a lot of information that is available out there. Okay. But there is too much information available, and in our busy schedules, how do we read so much? So for that, you need to schedule your reading. You need to decide that I will allot 1 to 2 hours each week to read articles, to read what are the latest updates. Okay. You can set that, okay, this week I will look at table of contents. So how do you schedule your reading? So when I say set aside 1 to 2 hours, and I have shown you different things altogether, right? So you can say there are 4 weeks in a month approximately. Sometime. So the first week I will look at table of contents of the 10 journals that I want to follow. The second week I would kind of, look at the LinkedIn profiles of authors that I want to publish papers in my field of interest, and I'll look through their LinkedIn profile. The third week, I will look at the alert mails which I've got in my inbox. The fourth week, I will manually go and look at other things. So that's how you need to schedule and set time aside in your reading to read articles. Read in groups. What do you mean by read in groups? There's too much information out there. You can't do all the reading. I'm pretty sure that you might have friends. All of us have friends, right, in the same field of work. So you can discuss with your friends, you know what? I'll look at these four journals. Then at the end of, say, once in 2 weeks, we will exchange notes. Kaun se journal mein, which was the best article and what I need to know. So read in groups. Second, the fourth one is join journal clubs. It's a very sad scenario that, in India, we as dietitians don't understand the importance of journal clubs. I have tried and create 2 journal clubs with 2 different associations over the last 2 years. But initially people show, enthusiasm, and both the journal clubs operated on a very different style. Okay. But eventually people just don't want to come in for journal clubs. But it's very important. Unless and until we are part of journal clubs, how are we going to know what is the new finding in our field of work? And it's so much easier to join a journal club than go and read a paper yourself. And lastly, if you are working in an organization or in a college, you can organize research fortnights, or you can organize research monthly, wherein you can dedicate, or you can give students, students or your colleagues or your junior dietitians 1 journal each. And from that 1 journal, every month they need to present one single paper. So that would kind of reduce your own workload, and you will get to know what is the best article that is published in those papers by just organizing this research fortnightly or research monthly at your workplace. So it is not compulsory that you yourself have to read all the papers. Somebody else can assist you in that, your friends, journal clubs, or organizing it at a workplace. So now most journal, when we look at these places, we have normally abstracts that are available. Abstracts are like summaries. So how do you obtain full text articles? All articles have the corresponding author's emails. So you can write to the corresponding author and say, you know what, I'm from so-and-so association. I need to read this article for my work, for my research work, for my dissertation. Can you please send me a copy? Another place is you can check Google Scholar, because a lot of authors upload full text articles on Google Scholar. Next is medical libraries of medical hospitals or pharma companies. If you are in a hospital, a lot of pharma companies MRs come to the hospital, right? So you can request the MRs, because a lot of pharma companies have access to full text articles and libraries. And lastly, you know, this is what I used to do when I did my PhD. I had a lot of friends in IITs and IIMs, and IITs and IIMs have subscription to a lot of journals. So I used to just send the article text to my friends at IITs and IIMs, and I used to tell them, you know what, please just check your library database and send me this full text article. So that's another. So these are the few legal ways to obtain a full text article. Going next, so medical journal articles are not the only way to upgrade your knowledge. You can also have other methods of how you can stay updated. One, conferences and webinar. By attending conferences and webinar, you are abreast with the new research findings. So I never knew that there's something called as chrononutrition which existed. Okay, I got to know about chrononutrition only when I attended a webinar organized by Nutrition Society of India Mumbai chapter. So before that, I didn't even know there's something called as chrononutrition. And if I had not attended that webinar, I would still be unknown to that term, right? Next, you get to know the latest breakthrough and advances in the field of nutrition and health sciences when you attend conferences on nutrition. You also hear and interact with leaders from your field, and it's a great opportunity to network. Many a time these conferences are sponsored by nutraceutical companies, so you get to network with them, get to know their products. So conference and webinars is a great way to get about new knowledge. Newsletters. How many of you all are signed up for newsletters? I really doubt any of us have subscribed to these newsletters. There's a newsletter by Harvard Nutrition Research, which gives the latest information about their research that is done at Harvard Nutrition newsletter. I can share the links later on chat after my session is done. Then you have the American Society of Nutrition newsletter. Can just go to their websites and download, or I'll also share the links later in chat. The USDA Department of Agriculture, their newsletter. The USDA also has a food and nutrition service newsletter separately. The World Health Organization has newsletters. And surprising and not so surprisingly, the National Institute of Nutrition India, ICMR, also has a newsletter. And they almost have a monthly newsletter which you can subscribe to. Then Science Daily is another website which has newsletters wherein you can put that you want to subscribe to newsletter based on the field of nutrition and food. So Science Daily. Food and Agricultural Organization or FAO newsletter. And lastly, newsletters of specialization. When I meant by newsletters of specialization, if you're a diabetic dietitian, subscribe to newsletters of associations which are giving articles on or newsletters related to diabetes. So you could do that. Okay. Apart from that, I'm sorry, Divya, Tejashri, I didn't know Just for Hearts has a magazine, but so now that I know, I would add Just for Hearts in my list of magazines that I suggest you all subscribe for. Today's Dietitian is a magazine which all the dietitians, I think, should subscribe to. Another magazine which I came across is Food and Nutrition magazine, which I think all of us can subscribe to. And the India-based magazine, which is Nutrition Insights, is one we can subscribe to. And as Tejashri just mentioned, they have a magazine called Healthy Life, right, Tejashri, which from
Yes, ma'am.
Just for Hearts, which I think we all should subscribe to know what is the latest in the field of food and nutrition. So a lot of latest information are shared in magazines for us to update on. And that's not it. We have a lot of professional associations. These professional associations gives guidelines, organizes conference, webinars, meets. You can join many of them. There are many organizations in India. I'm just listing 5 of them, which is Nutrition Society of India, Indian Dietetic Association, Association of Food Scientists and Technology India, Indian Association for Parental and Enteral Nutrition, Association of Food, Sports, Nutrition and Fitness Sciences. This is not an exhaustive list. There are many more out there. Talk to your friends, talk to your seniors, talk to your colleagues, and you'll get to know about many much more professional associations which you can join to be abreast with the latest information. And last part of my seminar, upskilling and reskilling. What is upskilling? What is reskilling? Does anybody know what is upskilling? Can you all put it on chat if you'll know what is the difference between upskilling and reskilling? Anybody knows what is upskilling, what is reskilling? We'll give you all 2 minutes to write on chat if you all know. Improve yourself, right? Tasneem says improve yourself. What else do you think by upgrading knowledge, upgrading and refreshing? Upskilling is learning complete new things, improving skills. Upskilling is equal to upgrade knowledge. So what is reskilling then if upgrading is new skilling, upgrading our knowledge? Taking up new skills according to needs today, get updates and new terms. Very good. So most of you all know what is upskilling, okay? But probably not, yes. So as, no, Payal, it's the other way around. Upskilling is, it's the other way around, okay? So in any case, reskilling is not learning the same things again. That's not what reskilling is all about. So before we go ahead, and I think most of you all know, we have 2 polls that I would like to ask you all, okay? One, have you ever done an online course? And do you have an active account on any of these websites? As it's not a multiple choice question, I think in the active accounts, you know, you could just type in the one. So first we'll take this poll, which is, you know, do you have you ever done an online course? Wow, that's great. Almost 84%, 82, 80. So wow, that's amazing. More than 80% of you all have done an online course. That's simply great. That means that you all are very motivated audience and you're very motivated to upskill yourself. That's great. So we'll end this poll. Divya, can we, sorry, Tejashree, can we share the second poll, please?
Yes.
So because it's not multiple choice, you can just select any one of it in which you are active, which you think you are active. So that's great to know that 78% of you all are doing courses. Oh, I'm very happy to know some of you all have done courses on FAO and WHO Open. That's really, really great. In fact, FAO e-learning, even I got to know about yesterday. WHO Open, I have seen courses on WHO Open in the past. But FAO e-learning, I found out only when I was making this course. And I really intend to, you know, go through FAO e-learning academy and explore more courses that they have. Oh, great. So a lot of you all have done courses on Coursera, LinkedIn Learning. That's amazing. So many of you all have done courses on LinkedIn Learning. And I'm really not surprised that none of you all know Allison, because even Allison was something which I got to know about 2 months back. And it's something very new. So I'm not really surprised about Allison, actually. I think we can end the poll, Tejashree. So great. A lot of you all have done courses on Coursera and LinkedIn. So LinkedIn Learning and Udemy, which is great. I'm really very glad to see these polls, and all of you all are doing and taking up courses and upgrading yourselves. So before I go and say, you know, where you can upskill yourself and reskill yourself, I would like to tell you what is upskilling and reskilling. Upskilling is learning something new in your own field of work. Okay. So for example, as a dietitian, I go and do a course in diabetes educator, nutrigenomics, or bariatric nutrition. That is upskilling. I'm learning some new skills in my own field of work. Reskilling is acquiring a completely different set of knowledge than what I already know. For example, I'm into research and statistics. So I often do a lot of courses in data science, data analysis, research methods. So I'm acquiring a completely different set of knowledge than what I already have. So that is reskilling. So upskilling means you are upskilling into what you already know. Reskilling is acquiring a new set of information. So where can you upskill and where can you reskill? So they are not two different compartmentalization. They go hand in hand. Okay. So for someone like me now, if I look, I'm into research and statistics for last, say, about 15, 16 years. For me, even if I do something new in nutrition, probably it would be reskilling and not upskilling because I'm solely into research and statistics, right? So why do you need to do upskill and reskill yourself? One, to stay relevant. Medical research, as I said, we are bombarded with information. If you do not upskill and reskill, as I said, FODMAP. If you are a clinical dietitian, you need to know FODMAP diet, right? Making yourself valuable for the association and job stability. Trust me, if I want to get a good job, if I have 4 extra certificate courses as compared to my friend or colleague, I have higher chances of landing that job and also having a job stability. So landing a job, so as I said, मेरे पास अगर ज़्यादा certificates है मेरे friend से, I am probably going to get higher chances of getting the job. Secondly, we are into world of micro specialization, as Tejasri said. We are into the world of micro specialization. I know so many hospitals within Mumbai city, wherein you, within a hospital setup, you do have a chief dietitian, but under a chief dietitian, you have a renal dietitian, diabetic dietitian, cardiac dietitian, gastro dietitian. So we are into the world of super specialization. And if I want to practice as a super specialist, I need to have super specialist qualities. And lastly, it's just to discover new passion and personal development. So for example, when I started working as a consultant statistician, I didn't have a formal degree in statistics, right? So I actually took up a course in statistics to just discover it and develop my own passion and personal development. So these are various reasons why you would want to upskill or reskill yourself. So where would you do upskilling and reskilling? You can enroll in various continuous nutrition education programs. If you all want, you can take a screenshot of these slides to remember which are the different sources of upskilling or reskilling. So these are just names. There are various diabetes educator courses available out there. I'm not going to name one particular brand. Many of them are out there. Find one in your city if possible, because in that case, if there are any physical one-on-one sessions that you can attend, it's much more viable and easily doable than doing an online course. There is also bariatric nutrition courses which are conducted by Dr. Aparna Govil and Bhaskar and her team, which is by the Laparoscopic Bariatric Surgery Center. So there is Onco Nutrition courses, which is run by Dr. B.M.N. College of Home Science, Mumbai. There is lactation counseling and IYCA counseling courses, which are run by BPNI, as well as there are some courses at IIT Mumbai. Then there is ketogenic diet course, which is run by Dr. J. Nathan. Some more examples. So, okay, I'll just leave it here for you all to take a screenshot for a second. There are various yoga courses and lifestyle management courses out there. Look at the ratings, the course content, and then you could enroll for this courses. Then the nutrition entrepreneurship program by Dr. Vishal Marwa and his team. And trust me, anybody who's done this course just has praises for this course, because he tells you how to be an entrepreneur. He teaches you a lot of online digital marketing skills, how to manage, how to file your taxes, and a lot of other things. I've not done this course, but I have heard only praises by people who do this course. Then the lifelong learning program in clinical nutrition and metabolism by SPEN. The reason I put it as a CNE course and not in the online schedule, because they do conduct some offline training and you have to physically go and give exams to get this certificate from SPEN, which is European Society of Parental and Enteral Nutrition. So if you're a clinical nutritionist, this course is a good option for you to do. Then autism and nutrition therapy by JKP Healthcare and Indian Autism Society. And lastly, I cannot help but share about courses that we do at NutriCanvas, but we do a lot of courses in nutrition research. We do a lot of offline as well as online courses. And so this list is not exhaustive. Okay, there is a lot more out there. These are just my top 10 picks of CNEs. So before we go on to the online modules, I would like to share the courses that we do. We do a lot of workshops on research methodology, tool development, how to make your questionnaire, how do you analyze data using SPSS. We do a lot of scientific writing courses, and we also do very specific courses related to research and nutrition. So a lot of courses out there. Look at the reviews, look at the course content, and look at what you want to learn, and then enroll in them. So these are offline courses, but now we can upskill ourselves from the comfort of our homes. There are multiple online courses available. You can learn at the speed which you are comfortable with, and you can stay updated. So some of the e-learning resources which I absolutely love, okay? The low FODMAP diet course by Monash University. I think if you are into a hospital setup, this is a must-do course by all hospital dietitians on low FODMAP diet for IBS. Then nutraceuticals for nutrients and nutritionists and dietitians by Nutrify Today Academy. This is something which I came across because I had put up a question on Nutritionists in India group as to what courses people are doing for upgrading themselves, and a member there had recommended this course. One place which I absolutely recommend to everyone who's working with pregnant women, lactating women, infants, to go on to this website called Early Nutrition E Academy. Amazing courses. They give credit-based courses, US and UK credits. So if you require them, just go and do courses there. The content is absolutely stunningly amazing. A lot of you all may have done the nutrition supplement course on Institute of Nutrition. They also have a few other courses. And the nutrition psychiatry CPD course by Food and Mood Center, Deakin University. These are the courses which are an absolute must for practicing dietitians to upgrade yourself, to stay updated, to know knowledge which was not covered in your textbooks. So these are, and lastly, nutrigenomics. It's the era of personalized nutrition, and a lot of companies, a lot of institutes are providing e-courses in nutrigenomics. You can do these courses on the certificate and practice as a personalized dietitian, personalized nutrition dietitian. Apart from these sources, did you know, I really want to know, did you know that Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics or American Dietetic Association has a portal for Eat Right Pro, wherein they provide courses to nutrition and dietetics professionals. I have opened it on my web portal. I will show you all the website and the amount of courses they have. The British Dietetic Association has a learning course, the Learning Zone, wherein you can do courses online. The FAO e-learning academy and the openwho.org. Some amazing courses are available on both the websites. So if I look here, so this is the Eat Right Pro co-program that is there. You have courses on diabetes, retail food industry, integrative food and nutrition, kidney disease, sustainable food systems, gluten disorders, you name it and they have it. And you look at here the BDA course. The BDA also has a low FODMAP course, nutrition in pregnancy. If I go to their home page, they have diabetics courses, advanced dietetic courses, IBS courses, just upskilling yourself. They have a lot of stuff. They have gastroenterology courses. They have courses in pediatric nutrition. So just go on their website and explore what are the different options available for you on these 4 websites. And these 4 are definitely the best places to do because they are authentic associations. Apart from this, based on the survey that we took at the start of this section, Coursera, EDX, LinkedIn Learn, Allison, and Udemy. Now, of these 4 places, I would definitely tell you to be aware of Udemy, because on Udemy, anybody can go and create a course. Coursera, Allison, EDX, and LinkedIn Learning curate the course themselves. They are associated with different institutes, different organizations, and then, you know, the courses are uploaded there. But Udemy, even you and I can go and create a course on Udemy. So skills, certificates obtained on Udemy are not so much valued as Coursera, Allison, EDX, and LinkedIn e-learning. If you're doing these courses just to upskill yourself, you may not want to buy a paid certificate. But if you think, you know, you're looking for doing an upskilling or reskilling to advance in your course, to get a better job opportunity, to get a better promotion, then it would make sense to go for paid certificates on these websites. These websites not only provide you courses on nutrition, it provides you courses on health, research, life coaching, soft skills. The world, there's no limit out to the amount of courses that is available on these 4 websites. And Allison, trust me, has some great courses and a worthwhile website to surf onto. So coming to the end of my talk today, to give a summary, it's very important to read journal articles to stay updated. You need to create a list of journals that you want to follow. Create Google Scholar and PubMed alerts. You can create Google Scholar alerts for both authors as well as for topics. Subscribe to newsletters, magazines, and join associations. Enroll in various programs and skill and reskill yourself. The one thing that I forgot to mention in reskilling is it's very important for us as dietitians to know digital marketing. So you can do a course on digital marketing, and there are tons of them available out there. Explore the online e-course websites that are available to you. But before you enroll in any e-course, please look through the syllabus. Look through what they're providing. Are they giving you value for money? Is the faculty well-known? Is the faculty qualified to take that course, especially if you're taking something up on Udemy? Udemy has a lot of general people who can create courses. So especially be very careful when you're spending time on money on Udemy. So thank you so much. That's my contact details. And thank you so much, Just for Hearts, for inviting me to give this talk. And I would also like to thank people who gave me suggestions about various courses to do on nutritionists in India, because without them, some of these options I wouldn't have listed. So thank you, Tejashree, and thank you the entire team of Just for Hearts.
Yes, ma'am. It was pleasure listening to you, because we have upskilled many things, as you said. So the process was going on, and it was an amazing session. We will just take a quick poll before giving certain instructions. So
sure, if there are any questions, I can definitely take up. So there was something called chrononutrition. Chrononutrition is planning your diet based on your sleep cycle. So basically, you look at, what time you get up. That affects the metabolism, and, so we say, early to bed, early to rise. It's a good lifestyle. So that is what chrononutrition teaches you. So yeah, that's what chrononutrition is about. Right. Is there a pediatric nutrition course online? I haven't come across a very specific course, but if you're looking at lactation management, e-learning academy is a good option.
Okay, they want slides which has so the thing is
I can share the slides wherein the course details are mentioned. So that if I don't know, but how we won't be able to share with them, right?
The thing is, you can just WhatsApp us on our WhatsApp number shared with you, shared on the creator. Those who are interested for the recording, we will be sharing the recording with them in a 4 days time, because it needs to undergo the processing. So we need that much of time for the tech support. So those who are interested for the recording can message us on our official number, and it will be executed.
I want to just answer 1 or 2 questions. Is that okay, Tejashree?
Yes, we can go ahead.
So there was one question, where you can get courses for graduates to do. There are a lot of courses for graduates. All these websites have courses for graduates to do. So just go and explore into what you want to do, what you want to specialize in. A lot of colleges now also are providing short-term courses. Like I suggested the Onco Nutrition course provided by Dr. BMN College, because it's a Mumbai-based college. I knew about it. So maybe, we could create a more exhaustive list. See, and it's just 1 hour. In 1 hour, definitely, I can't provide all the information, but I need to cover up what are the different venues. So we could look more into it, and you can create a more exhaustive list. So that can be done. But all of these have courses for graduates. Please don't, the courses on NIN website is meant for general public. There are a lot of nutrition courses on NIN, National Institute of Nutrition websites. Should we look for Indian research papers only because we have less data? No, you shouldn't look for only in Indian websites. because Indian websites that will restrict your data, right? So you need to look at both Indian and international papers to come up with theories that would be applicable to India. Is Coursera reliable? Yes, Coursera is reliable, but you need to see whether, if I go and, if as a nutrition professional, you go and do a course in nutrition or food on Coursera, you would say, this is something which I already know, because that's very basic. But if I want to do something in, say, digital marketing, or say courses which are not taught in our colleges, then you can go and do a course in Coursera. Carb counting, Dr. Shilpa Joshi has a course in Mumbai, which I know she runs. So you can look at carb counting. Currently, I don't have a journal club, but we have, then we can talk about, we can probably request Just for Hearts to organize journal clubs.
Yes.
Not all courses are free. Some courses are paid, some courses are free. So it depends on your what you're looking for. So yeah. So I think, I will leave it to you all to decide what to do, because no one course is best. There are a lot of them out there, and you cannot decide which is the best one to do. It depends on what you want to do. And that's how you decide. So thank you so much to Just for Hearts.
Thank you, Neha ma'am, for this wonderful session. And you had really summarized everything into one presentation, because it's a lot of, there are many things under this topic, but this is our way of celebrating the Poshan Maha, because we have been a part, like we conduct workshops for the upskilling of dietitians, and for past 2 years we have been conducting the workshops. We have panel members like Dr. Tejas Limay, then we have for ketone diet, we had also our Archana
Rairikar ma'am, yeah. So maybe we should subscribe. Yeah. So one more added to the list, subscribe to newsletters or follow Just for Hearts Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn to know the upcoming workshops. I think that would be a great addition to the list.
Right. So thank you so much for summarizing this and enlightening the dietitians, because we constantly do the other part of upskilling our patients' life, but we also equally need to invest time on upskilling ourselves for serving it better for our patients. So I will just run a quick poll for the feedback, and I want to know how was your experience regarding our today's workshop. And if you are interested to learn any particular topic about research from Neha ma'am, also you can type it in the chat box. It will be our pleasure to organize a workshop exclusively of Neha ma'am's into biostatics or into research or into her area of interest. So you can also type in those topics into the chat box. And yes, biostatistics. Amrita is interested to know about biostatistics, a workshop on biostatistics or questionnaire preparation.
Okay. We'll definitely plan in future, Tejasvi.
Yes, statistical analysis using SPSS. Okay, so it is great to see that 96% have enjoyed this session and you are taking something at the end, because this is the aim of Just for Hearts, to have some carry home message of the sessions that we do. And I'm highly enlightened that the intention with which we have thought to organize in this workshop has been fruitful, as you all have loved learning from Neha ma'am. And thank you all for joining this afternoon on a Sunday evening. And do stay connected with Just for Art through our official number. And thank you once again for being so interactive audience. Thank you.